For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life may also be revealed in our mortal body.
The Apostle Paul wrote the second letter to the Corinthians between the years 55 and 57 AD. This letter was written in the context of difficult relations with the church in Corinth. After founding the community during his second missionary journey between 50 and 52 AD, Paul maintained contact with the Corinthians, among other means, through letters. In this way, he strengthened their faith and attempted to resolve numerous problems in the young community. After leaving Corinth, Paul learned about divisions, immorality, and the questioning of his apostolic authority. In response, he wrote the first letter to the Corinthians, and after a tumultuous visit, he sent them a severe letter, which has not survived but is mentioned in the second letter. The second letter was written after receiving good news from Titus. The apostle learned that the Corinthians, through repentance, were changing their attitude. The letter aims to rebuild trust and establish a healthy relationship. It expresses joy at the resolution of the situation and serves as a defense of Paul's apostleship. It encourages unity and love in the church, showing concern for the community and Paul's unwavering faith in the power of the gospel. The passage we are reflecting on today emphasizes our role as messengers of the gospel. Paul tells us that we are like clay vessels in which a treasure is hidden, the evangelical message of power that saves the life of this world. In today's world, we often feel helpless and lost. When Paul wrote these words, he did not idealize human life or offer comfort that with such a treasure, life would always be smooth. He himself experienced immense difficulties and persecutions. Yet in his weakness, he discovered something extraordinary, the treasure of God's power. Our human, imperfect lives are the places where God's power can be revealed most fully. Let's recall the story of David, who was chosen to be the king of Israel. He was neither the eldest nor the strongest among his brothers, but it was in his weakness that God revealed his power. In the 16th chapter of the first book of Samuel, we read, "But the Lord said to Samuel, 'Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart.'" David, as a very young man, was anointed by God to reveal his glory, and at the age of 30, he became king. Just like David, each of us is a fragile clay vessel, susceptible to destruction. Yet, it is in this fragility that God's glory is revealed. God does not seek perfect people, but those who in their weakness allow him to act. Paul says that the surpassing power is from God and not from us. Our weakness is the place where God's power can work most fully. Modern realities are also full of examples where human weakness becomes an opportunity to experience God's power. Think of people who, despite severe illnesses or material hardships, can testify to God's love and power. Their testimonies often become an inspiration for others, showing that even in the hardest times, God is with us. God's power is revealed most fully in our weaknesses. Each of us is called to be a light in the darkness, and in our weakness, to show that it is God who works in us and through us. Let these words encourage us to trust God and allow Him to act in our lives, regardless of circumstances. Our weaknesses are not reasons for fear and shame, but opportunities to experience God's power. Trust in God, who in His wisdom and love leads us through darkness to the light of His glory. The Apostle Paul writes, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." These words testify to how we can face difficulties and sufferings with hope and faith. Paul himself experienced much. Not only was he in poor health, but he was also persecuted, flogged, and imprisoned. Despite this, he never lost hope, and his strength came from a deep relationship with God and the awareness that in every situation, God is with him. Each of us has many personal problems, whether health, financial, emotional, or spiritual. We all remember the time of the pandemic, which showed us how fragile our world is and how quickly our plans and dreams can change. One moment we enjoy health, and the next we fall seriously ill. For 7 years we may be rich, and for the next 7 we may experience poverty. In such moments, it is easy to lose hope and a sense of purpose. However, as Christians, we are called to look at our lives through the lens of faith and trust in God. That God's action is seen precisely through the lens of our weaknesses is one of the most powerful apostolic messages. In the 4th chapter of the letter to the Philippians, Paul writes, "I can do all this through Him who gives me strength." This is not a call to ignore our problems or boast of our strength. It is a suggestion to entrust our weaknesses and imperfections to God, who is the true source of our strength. Let today's word remind us that God's power is revealed in our weaknesses. Let us be like those clay vessels, which despite their fragile structure, hold a precious treasure. Trust that God is with us at every moment, ready to illuminate our darkness with His light. Like Paul, let us be full of hope and faith that even in the most challenging times, God is our strength and support. Today, I humbly offer all my weaknesses and illnesses to God and ask, Lord, transform them into strength. May God bless us all.